Imagine your car's engine is pronounced dead at 150,000 miles, destined for a costly rebuild or replacement. Now picture that same engine still running smoothly at 300,000 miles, with no internal wear and no miraculous maintenance rituals. Just something as simple as a $2 additive in the oil. This isn't fantasy, it's reality in places like Thailand, where Toyota taxis consistently surpass 1 million kilometers without engine failure, or rural Australia, where Nissan diesels from the 1980s continue undisturbed, and Japan, where Hondas maintain factory compression specs well past 500,000 miles. These aren't outliers or lucky exceptions. They share a hidden secret, a synthetic chemistry discovered by Japanese engineers in the 1960s that radically reshapes engine longevity. This isn't about expensive service plans or high-tech fixes. It's about ester oil, a specialized synthetic base oil derived from organic acids that chemically bonds to metal surfaces at a microscopic level. This bond reduces friction inside your engine by nearly 40%, compared to standard petroleum oils, and withstands extreme temperatures that would destroy ordinary synthetic oils within months. For decades, Toyota, Honda, and Nissan have factory-filled their top-tier motors with this esoteric chemistry. Contrast this with Western motor oil manufacturers, who sell you products built to degrade after just 3,000 miles, designed for replacement every 3 months. This relentless cycle fuels a $300 billion industry, an ecosystem meticulously engineered to keep you returning to quick lube bays under the illusion that your engine needs constant care. But the real calculation isn't about your engine's health. It's about how many times you can be persuaded to buy that overpriced oil. The brutal truth is this: the gulf between a trivial $2 additive and a $5,000 engine rebuild is a gap the Western oil industry has spent 6 decades suppressing. Here's the number the industry does not want you to run. A recommendation that forces 12 to 16 oil changes a year per vehicle versus 2 is not maintenance advice, it is a revenue engine. The engineering case for 3,000-mile oil changes has not been backed by independent research since the 1980s, yet it still sits on windshields and service bays and inside the routine habits of millions of drivers. Why? Because the math is brutally simple. Now put that beside the other number that should make every driver stop. Japanese domestic market vehicles running on Japanese market lubricants have documented engine lifespans 40 to 60% longer than equivalent Western vehicles using Western market lubricants. Same basic engines, same roads, same drivers, same real-world stress, different chemistry. And the cost difference is not some exotic premium tier buried in a dealership invoice. It is $2 per oil change. That is why the comparison is so uncomfortable. A mechanic can tell you your engine is finished at 150,000 miles, and in one market, that verdict becomes a bill. In another market, the same class of engine keeps working, often past 300,000 miles, sometimes far beyond that, because the oil is doing a different job at the metal surface. The gap is not theoretical, and the silence around that gap is the real story. If the chemistry were irrelevant, there would be no reason for menus, manuals, and mainstream maintenance guides to keep repeating the same short interval advice. But when a product lasts 15,000 to 25,000 miles, and the schedule still pushes 3,000, you are no longer looking at engineering. You are looking at a business model disguised as routine care. That is where the next layer starts to matter, because the reason Japanese engineers found a better answer was not luck, and it was not marketing. It was chemistry, and it began in the one place where failure is not an inconvenience, but a catastrophe. By the time the 1950s rolled around, lubricants based on ester chemistry had become the quiet powerhouse behind jet engines worldwide. This wasn't some accidental discovery. It was the result of decades of relentless refinement. When Japanese engineers looked at the gritty challenge of engine wear, they found in ester-based oils a molecular secret, a chemistry that actively shields metal surfaces, cutting friction by nearly 40%. Through the 1960s and 70s, automotive giants like Honda and Toyota weren't just dabbling with this science. They built their high-performance engines around it. Honda even embedded this chemistry into its Formula One efforts, and Toyota's internal research vindicated its friction-reducing power over thousands of miles. The real game changer arrived with the combination of ester-based oils and a friction modifier called MODTC, an organometallic compound that forms a microscopic, permanent barrier between engine parts under pressure and temperature. This wasn't mere marketing jargon. It was a molecular bond that prevented parts from grinding each other down, documented extensively in Japanese engineering labs before any Western company publicly acknowledged it. By the 1980s, Anos, the largest petroleum company in Japan, was producing these advanced blends specifically for Toyota's top engines. Meanwhile, independent researchers in Japan confirmed the extraordinary engine longevity this chemistry delivered, with wear rates far below any Western standard. Yet, here's where the unseen divide opens up. While Japanese OEMs quietly embedded these advancements, the $300 billion Western oil industry maintained a business model that thrives on repeat consumption. Envision oil change intervals so frequent they approach once every month. Low-SAPS oil specifications, designed to protect diesel and gasoline particulate filters, began to dominate Western markets. These formulas deliberately avoided ester chemistry and MODTC additives, ensuring the lubricant breaks down faster, demanding more frequent changes. Western consumers unknowingly subsidize an endless cycle of service bays and quick lube visits, each oil change a band-aid rather than a solution, while engines built on authentic chemistry quietly endure 500,000 miles or more on the other side of the Pacific. Open your oil fill cap or scan your owner's manual. If you find the specification calls for low SAPS oil, it's a cruel clue pointing to the systemic extraction embedded in what you're required to buy. These low sulfated ash, phosphorus, and sulfur formulas are necessary for vehicles with particulate filters, but they come at the invisible cost of accelerated engine wear if paired with anything other than cutting-edge additives. This isn't just a technical footnote. It's the foundation of who wins and who loses in the wealth extraction game. Most engine additives containing phosphorus compounds silently sabotage particulate filters over time, a hidden cost few drivers realize. For vehicles equipped with these filters, only certified low SAPS additives are safe, yet the vast majority of cars on the road have no such restriction. Standard ester additives and friction modifiers work perfectly well for them. The crucial point isn't just slapping on an additive whenever you think of it, but following a strict ritual aligned with your oil changes. Step 1. Wait until your scheduled oil change and add the ester additive directly into the fresh oil. This matters immensely because the additive's molecules bond efficiently only during the initial heat cycles after an oil refresh. Pouring additives into old, contaminated oil means it's competing with sludge and breakdown products for limited bonding sites, neutralizing its intended protection. Once the additive is in place, Step 2 demands immediate action behind the wheel. Drive at varied speeds, including highway cruising, for at least 20 minutes within that same day. This isn't about padding mileage mindlessly. Heat and engine pressure activate the friction modifier's chemical bonding to metal surfaces precisely in that first hot cycle. What forms is a molecular shield that clings tenaciously to engine components, cutting wear and friction long after, surviving through multiple oil changes. Most surprising is what comes next. Step 3. Push back against the quick lube trap by extending your oil change interval. Independent engineering research backs safe mileage of 10,000 to 15,000 miles per oil change when using high-quality synthetic ester oils combined with friction modifiers. Yet the ruthless convenience industry banks on your ignorance, telling you to swap oil every 3,000 miles to maximize their profits. The truth? Your oil filter can be changed at 5,000 miles if you want extra precaution, but the oil itself doesn't need dumping so often. The reality shatters decades of marketing lies baked into your maintenance habits. Finally, Step 4 is vigilance. Keep an eye on your oil level every 2,000 miles, topping up as needed with the same specification oil, because extended drain intervals demand maintaining proper fluid volume to protect those newly established molecular barriers. Engines with normal oil consumption can reach 15,000 miles on the original fill without issue, proving that quality chemistry and disciplined application defy worn-out ideas of mandated frequent oil swaps. This routine is far from theory. It's battle-tested on the toughest proving ground, Tokyo's taxi fleets. These vehicles operate in the most punishing urban driving environments worldwide, and their documented average engine lifespan surpasses Western counterparts by extending replacement intervals by 40 to 60%. What looks like mechanical endurance on the surface is actually a carefully calibrated strategy of additive timing, driving activation, interval extension, and fluid monitoring. Without mastering these exact steps, you remain trapped in the financial grind of short-lived engines and relentless oil demand. With just a small, disciplined action at your next oil change, you sever that cycle and reclaim longevity long engineered into a simple $2 chemistry. Imagine being told your engine's life is capped at 150,000 miles. Then, witnessing the very same engine running strong well past 500,000 miles without a rebuild. This isn't a fluke or lucky coincidence. It's the outcome of a quiet revolution hidden beneath the hood for decades. The secret weapon? A simple $2 oil additive based on ester chemistry that Japanese engineers have relied on since the 1960s, while Western oil industries constructed a profit model designed to keep you returning for frequent, costly oil changes. Consider the strict data. Toyota Crown taxis operating in Japan, running on ester-blended oils, regularly surpass 450,000 kilometers before any major engine work. The identical vehicles, maintained with Western synthetic oils and conventional oil change schedules, barely reach 250,000 to 300,000 kilometers, a 40 to 80% difference in engine life, all hinged on this subtle chemical advantage and its capacity to dramatically reduce friction and wear. Meanwhile, a fleet of 38 delivery trucks in the American South switched from conventional synthetic oil with 5,000-mile change intervals to ester-blended synthetic oil extended to 12,000 miles. Over 6 years, they experienced 0 catastrophic engine failures, slashed oil change expenses by 62%, and met factory engine wear specifications consistently at 150,000 miles. This isn't about magic or shortcuts. It's about acknowledging a cold and convenient truth. The widely accepted norm of frequent oil changes is a business contrivance, not a mechanical necessity. Western markets have been conditioned to accept recurrent oil changes as immutable, while Japanese standards quietly rely on a chemistry that protects engines from accelerated wear and catastrophic failure, with almost no rebuild costs over lifetimes unimaginable in the West. Yet, no promises of sudden wealth or miraculous fixes are made here. The promise is survival within a system rigged against you. Choosing this $2 additive doesn't turn you into a financial wizard overnight. It doesn't guarantee immediate riches or eliminate risk. The lesson is clear and harsh. Real compound gains in asset longevity and savings come from disruptive, foundational changes, not from chasing the false allure of rapid wealth or miracle fixes. True financial survival and wealth preservation demand acknowledging these little-known truths and acting on them pragmatically, with discipline and realistic expectations. This $2 chemistry isn't a get-rich-quick formula. It's a slow, stubborn war against engineered obsolescence, a promise to extend what is already yours, reducing the unseen costs engineered into every dollar you've been told you must spend.